Hey guys, Bullet of Truth coming at you here. So I'm sure all of you are aware of Dr. Kent Brantley, the 33-year-old that was infected with the Ebola disease. Apparently he's recovering. Now, the thing is with him, his health was in good condition. Apparently people whose health is run down are more likely to die from the disease. Apparently 2/3 of people ever infected with the disease apparently die. And this guy, Dr. Kent Brantley that was infected, he was the first, apparently the first one, the first time anyone infected with the virus has been known to get treated in the United States. But additional to him, there's a missionary, Nancy Wrightball, that is said to be infected with the disease as well. She's set to return to the US today, Tuesday, and from there she'll be rushed to Atlanta's Emory University Hospital 20 miles away. So she'll be the second person, and apparently there's another person, a third person, who has flu-like symptoms and also traveled just recently to West Africa, and he's been examined, and further exams are being done to see whether indeed he has likewise got contracted the disease, or whether it's just flu. Now, things to know about this Ebola virus. Basically, the early symptoms are a sudden onset of fever, weakness, muscle pain, headaches, and a sore throat. They later progress to vomiting, diarrhea, impaired kidney and liver functions, and sometimes internal and external bleeding. Now, this can happen all in the process of 10 days. But the earliest things you're looking for is fever, weakness, muscle pain, headaches, and a sore throat, which is very similar to flu-like symptoms. So if you're experiencing any of these things, it's best to go and have it checked out immediately. Because the sooner you get... and apparently there is no treatment for it. There is no vaccine for it. So if you've contracted this... your immune system basically has to fight it off. Now, the reason why most people infected with this have died is because it's affected most people in West Africa, and their immune systems are more down there. AIDS is more prevalent in Africa. So obviously someone who's got AIDS or cancer or immune system is really down, and they contracted this disease, the likelihood is that they will recover is very slim. Whereas somebody whose health is in good condition, their likelihood of recovery is much greater. So the way this disease is contracted is apparently through bodily fluids such as blood, urine, saliva, semen, etc. And it has to be through fluid contact to fluid contact. So this disease is not spread virally. You cannot breathe it in, which is the good news. So it's not like flu where you can breathe it in. So it won't be something like bird flu or swine flu. It's not that easily spread. So there's no real reason to panic as of yet. However, if you do contract it, it's way more deadly than swine flu or bird flu. Now, if we go directly to Wikipedia and we look at what Wikipedia says about the signs and symptoms, it says signs and symptoms of Ebola usually begin suddenly with a flu-like stage characterized by fatigue, fever, headaches, and joint and muscle and abdominal pain. Vomiting, diarrhea, loss of appetite are also common. Less common symptoms include the following: sore throat, chest pain, hiccups, shortness of breath, and trouble swallowing. The average time between contracting the infection and the start of the symptoms is 8 to 10 days. So in other words, once you've come into contact with the virus and you've picked it up, it will only show up basically after 8 to 10 days. But it can occur between 2 to 21 days. Skin manifestations may include a rash, etc., etc., etc. Now here's the important bit: transmission. it is not entirely clear how Ebola is spread. EBD is believed to occur after an Ebola virus is transmitted to an initial human by contact with an infected animal's bodily fluids. Human-to-human transmission can occur via direct contact with blood or bodily fluids from an infected person, and so on and so on and so on. It says semen is infectious in survivors for up to 50 days, not 30 days, up to 50 days. Transmission is considered low as the disease is only spread by direct contact with the secretions from someone who is showing signs of infection. So that's important. It says the potential for widespread is considered low because it's not viral. You cannot breathe this disease in. Now if we look and we scroll down to the treatment, it says that no specific treatment exists. Treatment is primarily supportive in nature and includes minimizing invasive procedures and balancing fluids, etc., etc., etc. So it's just about balancing the fluids to prevent and counter dehydration once you've contracted the disease and so forth. Now the reason that it's higher in West Africa is because this disease apparently infects monkeys and apes, swine, pigs, and bats. Now, in West Africa, they say that apparently some of them actually eat bats. Yeah, also under reservoir in Wikipedia at the bottom, you will see it says there transmission between natural reservoir and humans is rare, and outbreaks are usually traceable to a single case where an individual has handled the carcass of a gorilla, chimpanzee, or duiker. Fruit bats are also eaten by people in parts of West Africa where they are smoked, grilled, and made into spicy soup. So they say another thing is that you should just make sure that your food is cooked properly, especially if you're eating pork, and I would not suggest eating pork. I've actually done a video on that. I'll include the link in the description below. But if you do eat it, make sure it's cooked properly and thoroughly. But that's why it's more prevalent in West Africa, because they actually eat these fruit bats, and these fruit bats are resistant to this Ebola disease, and they carry the disease. And so they're actually eating these fruit bats. A lot of them aren't cooked properly, and so they're getting those bodily fluids from the bats into their system, which is why there's outbreaks in West Africa. Or also when they directly have contact with gorillas and chimpanzees who already have the Ebola disease in them. And the way these chimpanzees get the Ebola disease is apparently because the fruit bats often eat fruit and then they drop it, and it comes into direct contact with the chimpanzees, and so the chimpanzees in turn contract the disease, and when they die, many times there are humans who come into contact with these bodies of the chimps and so forth, and they contract the disease and so forth, and so it goes on. So there's no major cause for concern at this particular moment. It is a controllable disease, and if you do contract it and your body and you in good health and you do not have things like cancer, AIDS, etc., your chances of recovery are probably way better than if your immune system was run down. But at the moment it's containable. So if you're showing any of these symptoms, go and check them out immediately. If you're showing any flu-like symptoms, such as a sore throat, vomiting, diarrhea, nauseousness, go and check it out. Especially if you've been traveling in West Africa and those places, go immediately and check it out. Don't take any chances and wait for later, because then it can be too late, because you're going to have to get rehydrated and so forth as soon as possible. Even though there's no vaccine for it, you need care. You need first the best care possible for your chances of survival. So as I say, fortunately, it cannot be spread via the air. You cannot breathe it in, which is a good thing. So basically, it's through bodily contact, through fluids, like I said, semen, blood, saliva, urine, etc. And it has to be like, for example, your blood comes into contact with or their blood comes into contact with your saliva, or your saliva to their saliva, etc., etc. So there's no real concern at the moment, but if you do contract any of these symptoms, go and check it out. Don't wait for later and take chances, especially now until this thing is, put under control, or until it's declared safe in inverted commas. And of course, just remember, this is another opportunity which will give me to spread the gospel, and that is to remind all of you who do not know Jesus as your Lord and Savior yet, that today is your day of salvation, or indeed it can be your day of salvation. God says, choose you this day whom you will serve. This disease is just a reminder that death is around the corner for all of us, and we can all die at any given time, and you might die tomorrow in a car accident, for all you know. None of us are invincible, and this life is only temporary. So if you do not know Christ as your Lord and Savior, today is your day. It can be your day. Ask God, invite Him into your heart, ask Him to give you a new heart and a new spirit and a new nature, and get stuck into the Word, the Bible. Read, ask Him to apply that Word unto your heart and to make you a new creation. Jesus said, seek and you shall find, ask and it shall be given unto you. So until next time, may God's grace be upon all of you, and may His grace shine upon you. Shalom.